This is Providence Today. Welcome to the Liberty Tree that's right outside the National Constitution Center in Philadelphia. The Providence Forum had the joy of bringing this seedling, one of only 13 that survived from the seeds from the last standing Liberty tree. You can see it's grown to be quite a majestic tree already. It's a tulip poplar tree. It's a direct seedling of the last Liberty tree that came down in 1999 in Annapolis, Maryland, in the aftermath of Hurricane Floyd. They've been planted at prestigious places like at George Washington's Mount Vernon, right at the entrance. We have one all the way out in the west at Silver Dollar City. It's exciting to have trees planted that tell the story of America's founding. This Liberty tree that's been given to the blessing of the American people is a beautiful symbol of how freedom works. It's something that has a lifespan that will in fact one day perish unless it has a reproductive gift of a new generation, planting the seed of liberty and seeing it grow and preserved. The unbroken train of freedom belongs to each generation to pass it on to the next. I love the fact that this tree is now much bigger than it was when we planted it several years ago. And so it is that freedom is an idea that can grow. It's also an idea that can perish. And that calls on each of us to ask the question, what are we doing with the liberty that's been entrusted to us? Are you doing your part to preserve it? That's done in part by being a faithful voter. It's done by voting by your principles that are consistent with our founding values, such as the Declaration or the Constitution, both written right here in Philadelphia. It also has to do with standing boldly for the great underpinning values that made America great. What are those words? In God we trust, one nation under God, that our nation might have a new birth of liberty. And we need to remember that the Liberty Tree was a story that was well known, largely forgotten today. But it wasn't that long ago that postcards, for example, this historical Liberty Tree at St. John's College, was recognized and was sent as a wonderful example of St. John's College in Annapolis telling the story of liberty. But most of us don't even know that story today. Well, this tree behind me is actually from the same family. This is, if you will, the mother or father, and this is the son and daughter. These are the sons of liberty being passed from generation to generation. And further, when you think about it, notice 1978 Williamsburg, one of the great founding cities of the American Revolution. It has a first day of issue with the Liberty Tree being celebrated when it was being established in the Boston Common. And here we have a 13-cent stamp that says Liberty Tree. We once knew these stories in America, but what we're seeing is that history is being rewritten. Our founders are being considered as old, dead white guys that we need to forget. They were slave owners, they were selfish, they were looking only for themselves. Instead, we've lost sight that their values were to proclaim liberty throughout the land to all the inhabitants thereof, such as we find right on the Liberty Bell coming from the Bible. That bell says Leviticus chapter 25, verse 10. The Bible is the source of liberty, and those values have made America the source of the greatest opportunity ever given humanity. It was once said so wonderfully by Horace Greeley, that famous newspaper man, famous for saying, "Go west, young man, go west." He also said, it is impossible to enslave morally or politically a Bible-reading public. When we are basing our beliefs on the transcendent truths of right and wrong in God and the gift of liberty that comes by liberty and law, the Liberty Tree remains healthy and strong and will continue to grow. But when we lose sight of that source of our liberty, it is then that the tree begins to perish. The Apostle Paul put it so well, where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. The Apostle Paul also said, stand fast therefore in the liberty in which Christ has made us free. I want you to remember that we have a downloadable app. It is available free of charge. It will give you the Faith and Freedom Tour the Providence Forum does here in Philadelphia. We urge you to get it. Or go online. We have a wonderful website that's filled with information. It's called providenceforum.org. providenceforum.org. And friends, that's Providence Today.